Hello everyone, welcome to Cellopedia. This is Maxim. Today we will continue our exploration of Piatti Cello method. We will work on the fourth position. It's a page number 33. Let's play together first two lines of this page. Here we will try to make very short shifts with the first finger and then with the fourth finger, staying within the fourth position. So let's find E flat. Okay? Now, are you ready? Let's play it together. Here we have a very unusual note, G flat. It's much easier to imagine it as a F sharp. So if you have problem hearing it as a G flat, you can think in a different way. By the way, the first note could be also thought in a different way. Instead of E flat, you can think of that note as a D sharp. So this D sharp will be leading to the second note, E natural. So let's just play it again. First four measures. Find the perfect E flat. By the way, I should tell you a little secret. When you prepare, you don't have to use the bow to check the pitch. You know, if you put left hand finger on the string quick enough, you can hear this sound. And that's really useful trick when you have to perform and you don't want your audience to hear that you actually double checking left hand position. I did it on purpose a bit too loud, but you can be fairly discreet checking it. At any rate, let's play it again from the first measure. Let's now move to D string. Keep left hand in a position, because what you have to do after you played E flat is to move your first finger to the D string. Just move it horizontally. Don't slide up or down on the string. And if you did it right, you got A flat ready. G string, so you got A flat on the D string, and then you move the left finger to G string and it becomes D flat. And now we have C string. Absolutely the same thing. From D flat, first finger, goes to the G flat on the C string. And again, you can think G flat being F sharp. Well done. Now you warmed up and you're ready for Etude by Kummer. As always, we will start it in a slower tempo. So I suggest to have a tempo 8th note 60. And forget about 6 notes per bow. We will pay all attention to the accuracy of the left hand. So I'll be playing 1 note per bow, and the left hand will be my priority. Let's try it. Did you enjoy it? It's very useful exercise. If your left hand seems to be a bit tired, that's a good idea to play it a few more times and try to make sure that it's very relaxed. And, well, you might ask, how can it be relaxed if I have to work hard pressing on the string over and over again? Well, you can think this way. You better use the way of your left hand. So if you think when you put the fingers on the fingerboard, that if you allow the way of your left hand, including the elbow, even shoulder, work down, that will give you extra energy to press on the string. Very common mistake is try to squeeze the string just using your thumb. So you play like this, you squeeze the string, and then those muscles get really tired. That will also affect your sound quality. So again, the very good idea to try to take advantage of your left hand and and just allow the weight of your left hand to help you to press on the string. Okay, I'm sure you played it several times in a slower tempo, and you cannot wait to play it in a faster tempo. By the way, when you play in slower tempo and work on intonation, try to avoid using vibrato. It might not sound as interesting, but playing without vibrato helps you to pay all attention to intonation rather than being distracted by the beauty of vibrato. And when you play in a little bit faster tempo and we know the piece better, now we can afford to use some vibrato when we play longer notes. Beautiful. Of course, you noticed that there is the second teacher's part for every exercise in this book. So I'm recording those parts also in slow and faster tempo, and it is available for Cellopedia Patreon supporters. So you can click a link in the description, and that will bring you to Patreon page, so you can explore many benefits which Patreon supporters get as my thank you for support, which will allow me to keep working, finding time to record many more videos for cellists all over the world. Thank you. Now let's play another exercise to work on shifts. Last two lines on this page. So you will see when you have to make a shift, you have a bigger number with the finger you need to use to make this shift possible. So let's play it together. Okay, moving on. Now we will move to page 34, and there will be First 3 lines, it's exercise by R.V. Tabb, and we will explore all 4 different positions. So let's do it in a slower tempo again, just playing 1 note per bow, 8th note, 60. Such a peaceful exercise. Very enjoyable. Okay, I'm sure you spent some time practicing it in a slower tempo, trying to play without vibrato. Okay, now let's try to bring tempo up. We'll use the same tempo as for previous exercise. Tempo, dotted quarter note, 4/8. Now you can use vibrato. Every time you have to make a shift. Doesn't matter if you play in a slower or in a faster tempo. Try to imagine that note you are about to play. It might sound strange, and for everyone it will work in a somewhat different way. But you just have to make sure that you are not surprised that you have to make a shift. So you think ahead right before you make a shift. You can think about letter. You might try to imagine the pitch of the next note. You might try to imagine how far you will have to move your left hand. Anything you can do will make it better. Moving on again. Now let's play next 2 lines. There is another exercise we can explore. This is the same melody we just played, but 1 string lower. So we will get a chance to play it using different strings. So we will play in a slower tempo, 8th note 60, 1 note per bow, and no vibrato. interesting how basically the same melody as the top 3 lines sounds so different if you play it in a low register of cello and if you are using different key. So the first is in G major, and now it's in C major. Let's play it in a faster tempo, dotted quarter note 48. At the bottom of the page, 34, Piatti is showing an example how big the range of the cello is. So, he gives a list of all possible Cs you could play on cello, starting with the low C, one octave higher, one octave higher, one octave higher, yet higher, and next 2 notes could be done using technique which sometimes called artificial harmonics, when you press on the string with one finger, thumb, and then use the another finger, just gently touch the string, and as a result you will get C, which is yet 1 octave higher than the previous one. And the last C, it's quite an extreme example. So I'm not sure if I've ever seen it to be used in cello music, but let's try it. So I'm putting the thumb very high to play this C, but also I'm preparing another finger to touch the string where F is, and as a result we'll get this. So there is a mixture of different faint harmonics. So this extremely high C is hidden somewhere, but it's quite hard to get it clear. So this is the reason why it's normally not used in cello music. And the last line is very useful example about notes in the different clefs. So you can see bass clef in a cello music a lot. Then you have to learn the tenor clef, which is sometimes confused with alto clef. And you will need to learn the treble clef, which is very familiar if you play piano. That's a clef you will be mostly using in the right hand, but playing piano. Here in cello, we sometimes use all 3 clefs. So there are only 3 notes. First in the bass clef, 4th line is F. Then in a tenor clef, this 4th line is C. And in treble clef, the 2nd line is G. You should know that those clefs actually even got the name from the note they're pointing at. If you look at the bass clef, there are two dots. So line right between those dots is F, and that's why it's called F clef. Now, the tenor clef belongs to the family of C clefs, because middle part of this clef, tenor clef, is pointing at the fourth line, and this is C. So if you look at the music printed for violas, you can see the same clef. It looks very similar, but it is positioned one line lower. So it will be pointing at the third line. And for violas, the third line is C. But for cellos, C is the fourth line. And treble clef, the line in the middle supposed to start right at the second line, and that's where G is. So this is G clef, also known for musicians as treble clef. And let's explore a few more notes in tenor clef. So the first line of page 35 is an exercise in tenor clef. So you remember, tenor clef is a C clef. So the middle part of this clef is pointing to the fourth line, and this fourth line is C. Which note would be just one note below this fourth line? It's a letter which comes before C, B. So the second note of this exercise is actually B. Then we go back to C, then we go to the middle line, so we skip two notes, so we count two notes down. So if the fourth line is C, then two letters down is A, and so on. Now let's play this exercise in tenor clef, the top line of page 35. It's very important to remember that tenor clef is clef C. So the middle part of this clef is pointing at the fourth line, and this is C. Not any C, but this C, or on the D string. Now we will play it together, and I will be giving you the name of each note before I play. First note, C, B, C, A, C, E, G, E, F, D, B, G, A. Now we'll play D and B together. And now E and C together. Don't be afraid to play music which is written in tenor clef. I know at first it's intimidating, but you will get used to that. And every advanced piece you will be working on will have tenor and later on treble clef. So remember, step by step, day after day, it will be easier. You'll get used to that and you will be good at it. So enjoy learning and come back for more lessons from Cellopedia.